Could you briefly introduce yourself, your name, and your role in the industry?
Hi everyone, my name is Dana Protsyshak. I am founder of Vertlgo and LA Vertical Drama Market. I'm a writer, producer, director, and founder of events in short drama space.
I know I asked this question last time, but I still want to ask the same question. How would you define short dramas, and what do you think is their essence?
I would still define short drama as a feature film, which is chopped into 50, 80 episodes of 1 2 minute each, which have a lot of cliffhangers and hooks and are very fast paced to keep viewers engaged. The funny thing is that the name for this type of content is not established. There are different names people call it. In US, it's mainly verticals. I know in Asia and Europe, it's short drama, micro drama. Some people even call them words. So I think that at this moment, we don't have a specific term for this type of content, or it's just very different depending on geography.
And what do you think is their essence?
I think it's fast-paced storytelling. That's the root of short dramas.
Congrats for this year's first edition of Vertigo in Los Angeles. Could you give us a brief introduction to the event, how it started, what it presents, and its role in shaping LA short drama and the whole North American short drama market?
So this September, I hosted first ever LA Vertical Drama Market. That's the way we called it. It was hosted by Vertigo, and basically this is my company. This was the first industry event for verticals, and my idea for this event was like to make it a Scansville market, but for verticals. And I felt that there is a lack of industry events in this niche. I had this idea last November. At first, I ditched it because for me it was like too big of a thing at that time. And I got back to it in June. Before June, I started hosting vertical mixers monthly, where we were gathering people who work in verticals. And I saw that there is a demand for this kind of events in the industry. So that's how the idea was born. We wanted to shape the industry around verticals. We wanted to build community for people who work in verticals, and also we wanted to introduce verticals to Hollywood because there's a huge emerging interest from Hollywood established producers to verticals. And all of that we combined into vertical drama market. We had 13 panel discussions. We had a separate vertical story lab where we got writers from platforms who were teaching master classes for everyone who is interested in vertical screenwriting. We did pitch competition. It was the first ever event where people could pitch their vertical stories in front of executives and actually like to the producers who can make them happen. And also we had some VIP networking events for producers and creators and daily happy hour events. And I feel the main goal was established. We have a community of people who work in verticals right now, and it was one of the most most popular feedback I got that people were able to actually meet someone in person, like whom they worked with or who they just like texted on like LinkedIn or Facebook. So I think like the most powerful outcome of the market was like this community we create. And also like about other outcomes, it feels that people realize that it's here. My verticals are here, they're not going anywhere. And as they learned more about this industry and they are more interested into trying it because right now they actually know how to try it. And they've listened to a lot of people who already walked down this path, so they feel inspired by them.
During the event, what the main topics everyone discussed?
So we had 13 panel discussions. It was a lot. And the way we divided them, it was at the first day, it was more like introductory. We were talking about what verticals are, how to get into them, like what does it mean for Hollywood, and what are the rules of verticals. Day two, we focused more on production, like what it means to produce in LA, what it means to produce verticals abroad, casting, directing intimacy stunts, more like nuances for production. And on day three, we're talking about challenges, about AI, about future of vertical landscape, and all these things. So like, it's hard to outline like exactly like one topic. I would say that we did a crash course on verticals from people like who have only heard this term to basically knowing to discussing where it's all going forward. But if I would like to pick one, I would say that the most common question everyone was asking about elevated vertical content. That's something that like everyone was like, okay, we have verticals right now. What do you think of elevated vertical content? I want to create vertical elevated content. Like, how do I get started? I think that was like the most common question from creators.
What do you mean by elevated? Like the quality is not very good right now?
Yes. So it's not even like I feel like the quality is way better than it was in 2023, but like there is still a lot of room for growth, especially writers and people who are just getting into the field. They want to tell a bit smarter stories, if we can call them that, different plots, explore other genres. Even like in romance, there is still a lot of tropes that we haven't explored yet. So more about expanding the scope of topics and also making them more cinematic.
Any ideas or direction of the genres everyone discussed?
So a lot of people are curious whether horror will work because it's very popular genre in US and everyone is curious whether they can adapt them into verticals. Yeah, mainly horrors and true crime. Also, some people were wondering whether we can engage more male audience to watch verticals, but I feel like right now the trend is like not really there. Like in May, everyone was obsessed about let's create a vertical that men will watch. Right now, I think that it's more about introducing verticals to other genres than to different audience.
If male audience watch your verticals, what kind of contents do they like?
I think that's why the horror is coming into picture. Horror, sci-fi, also like some LGBTQ series, but some people just don't think that man audience will watch it, so they just prefer to concentrate on expanding romance.
From the industry point perspective, what new trends and insights have you observed in general?
I think there is a huge trend right now just to get into vertical space, especially after Fox announced that they're investing in my drama, Holy Water. Everyone is like, okay, Hollywood is here, we need to get in. That's probably like the biggest trend I see right now. The other trends, I can tell that people are hungry for stories because we have a lot of emerging platforms right now and everyone needs content. So if you have a story, you're winning. And if you have like a story that has already been produced on other platforms, like the platforms who have stories are also winning because there is a battle of content, as we can call it right now.
So you mean the local platforms, the US platforms, or
No, I mean like if like a platform like is emerging right now, they need content. So like there are two ways that they can get content. They can license it. So like all platforms that who have already have like the libraries, they can basically monetize them better. They can like sell them exclusively and non-exclusively to emerging platforms and make some profits on it. And also creators who have original stories they have better chances into selling their stories because those platforms which are emerging they are more open to having new stories. They don't have in-house writers team as well-established platforms have, so there's like a window of opportunities for creators who have IP right now.
the platforms you mentioned about there, or most of them are US platforms, right?
US and Europe, yeah.
What are the next steps or plans for the area market and your own projects going forward?
So right now, a slate of original verticals, which we are talking to different platforms about writing and producing them. Also, we are trying to establish a writer's room where we can write script in a more efficient way and later possibly producing them. And also, we are in early development stages of our own platform. So, all hands on deck in the vertical space.
Were there any female creators involved in this year's market?
Yeah, I feel there were a lot of women creators there. We have directors panel where we had a lot of women. Basically, I feel like every of our platforms they have at least one or two women. To be honest, I feel this media is for women because the fans who came and reviewers who came to our event, we had like a special fan event as well, a fan panel as well. They were all female, so we are creating the content for females. So who is better suited to produce and make this kind of content than women?
From that perspective, do you think short drama or verticals, this formats open up doors, more opportunities for female creators in the industry?
Yeah, definitely. I can tell that a lot of clients they want female directors because they feel that women have a better eye to directing romance and that they know better what can catch other women's eye. That's one thing. And also, it just like if you look at the data, the demographics, female audience is still like the main target audience for verticals. So majority of platforms they want female directors, female writers, producers not so often, but directors and writers, yes, 100%.
If there is a new writer, like from film or novel background, or even not from those background, want to get into verticals, what's your suggestion based on that?
I would suggest they first of all study the format, that they watch a couple of verticals from top platforms just to get acquainted with what this genre is about, and then like be open-minded about that it's not a feature script, it's a vertical script. Allows that sometimes some scripts have even known that this is a vertical script and some things may not make sense, so they should be aware of that. They should write a spec probably and then try to show it to some people, producers who already work in verticals, and try to get in as a staff writer. But if you have, again, if you have your own story, if you think after watching verticals that it can make a good vertical, write the whole script and try to pitch it to producers because right now they are more open to it than ever before.
There's a golden rush in the whole US or Los Angeles, right?
Again, like I feel that media has been following verticals pretty closely, like last few months, like Ankler, Deadline, Washington Post, and people with money, Hollywood established producers, they started noticing it and they want to get in. So, like 1 year ago, everyone was skeptical about verticals. They thought that it's going to go exactly as Quibi and like nothing will work. 6 months ago, they were okay, like maybe it's coming, it's going somewhere, maybe it's not. Right now, after all those articles, everyone wants in. So in LA, they are pitching tax credits for verticals because that was like the main reason that a lot of big productions left LA because there's lack of tax incentives to shoot here and locations are expensive, permits are expensive. A lot of verticals at right now shooting in Atlanta, but it was like for the last year. Right now, also they are starting to shoot verticals in Chicago, and I was very surprised with that. And I know that they're expanding to Texas, Kentucky, Kansas. There's like a whole studios emerging there. So it's like everyone who has resources, who has like locations, production teams, they're trying to get into the vertical space. So that is like gold rush. And right now with big players like Fox and probably Disney in this space, people expect budgets to get higher.
Mm.
And this is like a big expectation. I don't think it's happening, but we'll see.
Wouldn't surprise the happen in other places because
Yeah.
in China it's not happening in the first tier cities. They're actually in the second tier cities, just like Atlanta.
Atlanta has tax credits and they also have a lot of crews and they have a lot of studios. So Atlanta works in Atlanta for one vertical as well. It's not only in terms of productions that are going into this, also the apps which are emerging again, like it's a competition, especially in terms of content, because they don't have content, they don't usually have money, and we will have in the like first 6 months of 2026, we'll have more than 10 apps with very similar content, I guess. I still think that in US, people are used to streaming and watching short dramas on their phones, it's more expensive. And right now we have like top studios who want to get into verticals. Like Netflix just announced that they will be doing verticals as well. So if they will be able to watch verticals from big streamers, even more apps will go down. I think the streamer have more resources and have bigger content libraries of their original IPs they can reuse. And the thing is that like emerging apps, they aren't backed by like they are backed only by like venture capitalists and like by private investors. They're not backed by big players. We'll see how it goes. But to be honest, I feel like it's really fascinating time because we are able like to explore like the new market.
Let's pause for a second. Imagine you're in a crowded marketplace. Vendors selling cakes, jewelries, all kinds of things. And you are one of vendors trying to sell a story. What kind of story will you tell? And more importantly, how do you keep people stop listening and actually pay? That's the narrative logic of short drama. I explain this in my book, Short Drama Writing 101. Write what platforms want. It's available on Payhip, Amazon, and Google Playbooks. Now let's back to the video. Because most of the vertical platforms in China are backed by web novel companies, 90% from web novel background.
Even like in Ukraine, like my drama and drama shorts, they also have their libraries. And in US, I feel like those apps are merging from specific producers. They may have like their own IPs in terms of some films that they produced, but they are like in terms of quantity, it's way smaller than like proper web novel library.
Is there any book IP or those companies?
There's Wattpad, there's Royal Road, but I don't hear that they are getting into vertical space. I know that reelshort they licensed some of Wattpad authors. Right now, I guess they just released Bound by Honor, which was based on a novel from Cora Riley.
What about MCN or a film company? Are they getting to verticals?
Like I haven't heard that they're getting into them. Maybe like some platforms they want to stay under radar because a lot of like companies who announce that they are launching, I guess it's more like a marketing move to attract more investments. But because like they haven't proper launched, except maybe like Gamma. But yeah, like I think a lot of them may just prefer to stay in the shadows for now.
What I see from the top Chinese platforms, 80% from web novel backgrounds. And the others, they used to do the ad buying for web novels. And there are some MCN companies, and there's one game company. That's it.
I think like even based on our previous conversations, I feel that like in China it's coming more from a content side, from IP side and from gaming and from a little bit of ads, what you just mentioned. But in the US, it's like Hollywood wants to get in. So this is like basically established filmmakers who worked in different roles on film and TV productions, and now they want to get into vertical space, but not like content companies, no gaming companies, no ads. It's it's purely filmmaking, which is trying to get into vertical. I think financing can be getting closer to vertical than any other. And that's why I feel like where is the biggest difference between like US approach and Chinese approach to verticals is that Chinese approach is more content based. It's more like not like UGC content, but closer to content. And here it's more like we are making a movie. We are making a feature. Like even like the way I described it to you, it's like a feature chopped into episodes. So I think it's more like filmmaking perspective, more like indie filmmaking, and we are making a movie, but in a bit different format. To be honest, I feel like
I think those Chinese platforms pick the wrong strategy. It used to be IAP, in-app purchase, which means they need to attract the viewers' attention because it's very competitive because so many platforms and there are so
Yeah.
many creative ads in the whole market. So they have to be severe, like make people angry, a lot of violence, those kind of thing.
Yeah.
So they think this work in China, so I think when they export overseas, they use the same strategy. But I think they used the wrong one. After I talking to a lot of creators from the US market, they don't like those violence and I don't like those shows as well.
Maybe they are using not the best strategy, but also a lot of people are raising the questions that like we don't want that much abuse in verticals and so on. But I feel that those companies are very data driven.
Yeah,
So they look at the data and like maybe some people they don't want to admit that they still watch those shows, because the data like it doesn't lie, and that's like why the companies are pursuing this strategy mainly. But also, I feel that the biggest problem right now is retention because like even like the way you described it, the strategy was just to bring people on your platform, right? Like make them watch, not like finish watching, but like just watch at least like 1 second, right? So they were pouring a lot of money into marketing then, and that's why it's very expensive to like for new productions, for new platforms to compete, is because you need to put almost like the same amount of money into marketing as you do in production.
more money in the marketing. In China, 80 to 90% of money is spent on ad buying. Probably makes sense because in this stage, they need to attract as many viewers as possible. So maybe they will have stronger way, like maybe some abuse or violence, creative ads to attract the audience to the app first. Maybe in the second stage, they will change their strategy into a more slow pacing and like good storytelling.
I would say that right now I don't see that many like abuse scenes in the verticals here. It's like at least in promotion scenes, but I would say there is a lot more intimacy scenes. I think it's working more in US, like in all promotions, in like whatever ads you see, it's mainly intimacy scenes.
Intimacy, I think it's that's ultimate thing to attract female audience.
I can share a little bit about the upcoming market because we are already in early preparations. So we wanted to do it once per year, but because the industry is so fast-paced, we decided that we need to do it in May because by September we'll have a completely different industry, and we want to take like the best parts. We want to take panel discussions, story lab, but we also want to do master classes on other topics because I feel that people need more like case study. So we will focus more on practical things, on like actual production cases on this market, and it will be more practical than like the previous one. And we'll also have some pitch competitions as we did this year, but we will also have awards because we don't have any awards, proper awards for creators who stand behind all those shows. They aren't assessed from a professional standpoint. And if you want to make it as a proper industry, and we definitely want it, we need to have awards as well.
Do you think it
Yeah.
would be a vertical INDB?
Not at the moment. I would say that Instagram and reviewers who watch verticals and publish their reviews and introduce these actors, they are kind of vertical IMDb. I'm curious about AI and technology. How does it work in verticals in China right now? Because in US, they even passed a law that AI can't substitute actors because everyone is afraid that AI will take their jobs. But I'm curious about like what's in China there right now.
AI is used in many ways. One, they tried for those Chinese shows, they tested to change the faces of Chinese into foreign faces. The
Mhm.
test is not good, because when they go to close up, it's kind of the expression still kind of weird. So it's not
Mhm.
very good. They also do some background, like AI generated background in
Nice.
sci-fi and stuff, but not many are used. There is one trending right now. It's very hot this year. It's called AI motion comics. So a lot
Mm,
of investors, long streaming platforms and
hmm
short drama vertical platforms are getting into this market. It's targeting the younger generation, like 20 years old,
hmm
especially males. So there are
Oh.
some horror, sci-fi stories, those things, and it's easier and to make by using AI. There are three types. One is called full-scale AI motion graphics. That's just AI generation, the whole
Mhm.
story. The second one is called narration. It's like an audiobook, but you
Mhm.
have some images. So it's better than an audiobook because you can watch some moving images, and that's cheaper
Mhm.
to make. The third one is called silly comics. So people read some funny comics, some silly stories, and that's cheap to make as well. So that's three type of story. They say that's the final piece of the whole short drama industry. We begin with the middle-aged man from lower tier cities and then
Mhm.
expand it to women in lower tier cities. And then right now they are targeting those women with higher education in the bigger cities with some
Mhm.
very good quality short dramas, as I mentioned, slow pacing, good quality stuff. They were trying to grab the audience from streaming platforms. And
Mhm.
then the final puzzle is the young people, so 20 years old young people.
The first AI is that you mentioned when they just change people's faces, like the ones they put instead. Do they shoot them, or it's just like they just grab somewhere? Like, do they shoot real actors for that?
Platforms, right? They got the final short drama in their
Mm-hmm.
stock. So they want
Mm-hmm.
to export it into foreign markets. So they use AI to change their face.
Okay, so it's not actors that you are changing, for you're changing like the real face into AI.
Yeah, from Chinese actor's face into some kind of foreign actor's face. They try that, but it's not very good.
Because I know that there was a debate that, okay, like we have a short drama that we made. Can we shoot another actor in a studio, just like one, like 2 or 3 hours? You just shoot close-ups with him, like different emotions, different reactions. And then, like with AI, you put what you just shot into your short drama. And it works much better, but it's very unethical. And again, like right now, California has passed the law that you can't use like AI to substitute actors.
Is it expensive to change faces?
Well, it's less expensive than to shoot the whole short drama
No, we don't do this. Maybe because shooting a real actor is not very expensive.
because of the new law that you can't do it. But also, is it like no actor here would give a consent to use like his mimics and everything to substitute him. So it's more like legal and ethical issues than a technical one.
No, we don't use that.
We don't either, but it's possible to do it.